Hong Kong's flagship carrier, Cathay Pacific, is dealing with unrest among its cabin crew. The carrier's flight attendants union has complained about tough working conditions. It is planning to commence a work to rule campaign. The attendants union also scheduled a rally ahead of the key Chinese New Year holiday, but withdrew the bid as the airline did not permit it. So what exactly is this work to rule campaign all about? Let me explain it to you. Under this action, the workers will strictly follow the airline's policies and standards. They will do no more than the minimum requirements of their job contracts. And this includes refusing to work on their off days. To put it simply, it's quite like the act your wage trend. Hong Kong's flag carrier has been under a dry spell. The workforce is decreasing while the workload is increasing. The staff members have reached their edge as they get less time to rest and even lesser compensation. But why are the crew members facing such difficulties? Well, largely due to the Wuhan virus and the carrier's poor planning. During the pandemic, the airline was flying at 2% of its passenger capacity amid harsh travel curbs due to reduced workforce requirements and an inability to keep up with the workers' pay. The airline fired thousands of its staff members in 2020. It also slashed the salaries of those who stayed. But things have changed now. Loosened restrictions have renewed the travel demands. The Lunar New Year holiday means a lot of visitors will be flying in and out of Hong Kong. But the carrier is still scrambling to hire back the staffers. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit Cathay Pacific hard, particularly hard, and China's systemic interference has pushed things further down the hill. The carrier is controlled by the conglomerate Cathay Pacific. Before the pandemic, it served nearly 120 destinations and had a strong workforce of 27,300 employees. In fact, Cathay Pacific symbolized Hong Kong's status as a global business hub. It started its life in 1946 as a freight operator. It transported post-war cargo and aimed to rebuild a shattered Hong Kong. Cathay carried toothbrushes, combs, lipsticks, second-hand clothing, linking Hong Kong with Shanghai, Manila, Sydney. It took the carrier a while to start moving people, but it did achieve the feat, and soon it became one of the most important and well-connected airlines of Hong Kong. Before the pandemic, it controlled more than half of the passenger traffic and carried nearly 2/5 of cargo in the Asian financial hub. It had an annual global turnover of around $30 billion. But things started to change. Cathay Pacific's operations started contracting. In 2019, its inbound traffic was hit by political instability. As the anti-government protests rocked Hong Kong, its forward bookings suffered from double-digit year-on-year declines. The carrier also came under the attack of the Chinese state media. Newspapers warned Cathay that it would pay a painful price for its actions. They highlighted the incidents when some of the company's staff appeared to support the anti-government protests. Because of this, Cathay came under intense scrutiny from China's Civil Aviation Authority. Sweeping changes at the top of the management followed. The airline had not even started to recover from the protests when the Wuhan virus hit it with full force in 2020. The halt in global travel left the carrier hemorrhaging money. Its possible collapse threatened Hong Kong's aviation sector. Cathay tried to secure loans from the private equity market to tide through the turbulent times, but to no avail. The carrier did not receive any interest from bidders due to the political sensitivities surrounding its ownership. And that is when the Hong Kong government decided to step in. It led a $5 billion bailout and took a sizable stake of the struggling airline. The bailout aimed to protect Hong Kong's role as a global aviation hub and ensure its long-term economic development. And despite that, Cathay Pacific had some tough decisions to make. it had to re-evaluate its business model. There was not any meaningful recovery on the cards for some time, and the COVID-19 pandemic had leveled the playing field. This gave new airlines enough opportunities to spring up, and China took complete advantage of this. In the year 2021, a new airline with ties to Beijing muscled into Hong Kong, founded by the Chinese tycoon Bill Wong. Greater Bay Airlines aims to connect 104 destinations in mainland China and North, South and Southeast Asia. Hong Kong's skies had for long been dominated by Cathay Pacific, but a steady increase of competition now threatens its position. The airline is suffering from an intense crew crunch. The staffers are crying foul over the working conditions. They are overworked and underpaid. And competition from the rivals is only making matters worse. Unfortunately, Swire's legacy is not as glorious as it used to be. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.